If you record your own airsofting gameplay, having a magnified camera that follows your BBs as they shoot out of your gun towards your target is going to be crucial to ensuring that you have not only an entertaining, but an engaging video as well. No one wants to watch a gameplay where your optic is blocking half the camera and they can't see the people that you're shooting at. So you're thinking, I should get a scope cam. However, what do I choose? There are a lot of custom options out there on the market. However, they can be iffy. A lot of times you have to do the work yourself. And don't you just wish that there was a package that you could buy and be good to go right out of the box? Well, there is. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the ATN Shot Trak HD in full 1080p, and that is going to be the topic of today's review. What's up guys, my name is Lane and welcome to the BB Warrior. We're here to help you have a better time both on and off the airsofting field, and if you enjoy videos like this and enjoy our informative reviews, well, I'd love it if you joined our community by hitting that subscribe button down below, and while you're at it, make sure to hit the bell icon next to it to get updates when we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday and join our notification squad. So the reason why I like the ATN Shot Trak is that it's very, very simple, and again, it is not a modification from a pre-existing camera, which means that there's a whole lot less issues that you can run into. Now, this is a very easy and very streamlined system to use, and I like it for a couple of reasons. However, it does have some downsides in my personal opinion. So first off, let's talk about batteries, because that's going to be very important on a camera. Some of the modified run cams, well, you either can't access their battery, or you have to get a custom printed mount, or they're just kind of a pain to use. So the nice thing about the ATN is that the battery runs, or the camera runs off of a CR123A. This is a very easy to find battery. A lot of Surefires run off of it. Some of the EOTech models run off of it. And I mean, you can pick them up anywhere. They are a little expensive, however, they are nice batteries, and they last for a while. The battery life on the ATN Shot Trak is about 4 hours, which if you're like me, and when you're not in engagements, you turn your scope cam off, that is a very, very long time. And if your battery does die, well, you can just pop in a new CR123A. You don't have to wait for an internal battery to charge like on the Mobius cameras, and it's a very streamlined solution. The only thing that I don't like is the cap that holds the battery in. It's not of the best metal out there, and I have found that it does I feel like it's going to strip, I should say. I like to use a dime to open this. I find that that's the best thing that doesn't really damage the cap, but that could be something I could be concerned about in the future. It hasn't gotten too messed up in the year that I've owned this camera. However, I thought that that was something that I should mention whenever I tried using a screwdriver. Well, I was kind of picking away at the metal. So next to that, on the front of the camera, is going to be your lens, which is a 4.5x magnification. It does include a lens cover, so just make sure to take that off before you start recording. And then below that is your micro SD slot. These will accept just about any micro SD out there, so even if you want to run one of the ones with a huge memory space, like a 64, that'll be good to go in this. Something that I like about the ATN Shot Trak is that they know that this is going to be built for people using rifles or things like that. So their mounting system is very, very easy. Mount, again, is made out of metal. You're going to have no issues worrying about the mount. And the nice thing is that it is a Picatinny mount. So as long as you have a rifle or a bow that has a little bit of Picatinny rail, there are no options for Keymod or M-Lock, obviously. So you're going to have to buy an adapter if you run either of those systems. But this is a very well-built camera with a very, very nice base. So talking about some of the features of the camera, on the back is where your controls are. So there are a couple of modes on the ATN Shot Trak X. There is recording, which will record in 1080p, 30 frames per second. So if you're running something like a GoPro, and no one really does 1440 videos, so at least for airsoft gameplay. So it'll be the same quality that you'd expect if you're running like a GoPro or a Contour as your helmet cam. So it's not going to be one of those situations where your GoPro is in a nice high quality, but then when you go to the scope cam, where it's really going to matter, especially because this is magnified, well, you're not going to lose any video quality there. And 30 frames per second is pretty respectable in a small camera like this. So you have standard recording, you have a frickin' laser beam. That's kind of weird. You can't adjust the laser, so it can't be like, you can't use it as like a PEC box laser. I think that the laser is kind of dumb, personally. But that does exist. It's red laser. I thought I should mention it. And then the other mode is you can record while you have the laser on. Again, I don't know why you'd want to use the laser, maybe for dramatic effect in your footage, but then again, you can't really sight the laser in at all. There's no option. So I think it's kind of dumb personally. But so those are the 3 modes that you have for recording. Pretty much the only one I use is just standard video recording. And I want to talk about mounting this onto your rifle. So obviously there's only one orientation for this camera, but there's not just one way to mount it. So on every side of the camera, there are 2 screws. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera right now, but there are 2 screws on 3 of the sides, I should say. On one side there is not, because that's the side that indicates what is top and what is bottom. So the nice thing about that is that allows you to mount this on any side of your quad rail, whether you want it on the left or the right or the top or the bottom. That is possible with the ATN Shot Trak. However, that is another place where you start to run into some issues. With the mount, this is a very tall camera, and when I say that, it is going to be much taller than any optic that you could ever imagine happening on your gun. If you wanted to run this on the top and front of your optic, you're going to need like an 1.5-inch riser on your optic to see over this thing, and that's just going to be goofy. So really your only options are the left, the right, the bottom, or on top of your optic. So that eliminates things like T1s or EOTechs. So personally, I've been running mine on the right-hand side of my rifle, and I like that. However, there is some disadvantages. It's like running a Contour versus running a GoPro, because it's on the side. If I peek going left, there's a chance that I can miss some of that footage, and I've had that happen. I will throw that up on screen right now to show that that window that I moved across blocked part of my shot. So I think that the best looking footage is from the bottom. Now, some people don't like seeing the BB go over the frame of view and then towards the target. That's just personal preference, and I don't like to run it on top of an optic because there aren't very many optics that you can do that with. What you'd have to do is find like an ACOG knockoff that has a pick mount on top for like an RMR, or you'd have to get a railed scope ring, and I play mostly CQB, so I'm not going to be using either of those options. I love my T1. So for me, it's either going to be on the right or on the bottom, and I don't put it on the left for the same issue. I'm right-handed, so when I peek, I figure I'm going to be peeking from, or going right more than going left. So that's why I put it on the right side for me. I think that is one of the biggest downfalls of this camera for our purposes as airsofters. If you're a hunter, that's not really an issue because you're not going to peek a corner right before you shoot a deer, but I think that this would be, if they were ever to make another version of this camera, I'd prefer it to be wide but not tall so that you could use it like a PEC box. I don't think ATN has any plans for that, but if they did, that'd be really, really cool. This is fairly water resistant. Typically what I'll do is I will take it off if it starts raining a lot, but if it's just a light sprinkle, I've never noticed any considerable issues with this system. I really like the system. While it does have some limitations because of its sizing, I really, really like the simplicity of it, and the fact that it isn't a modification. I know I've already mentioned that, but in the past with scope cams, I've had a lot of issues with custom built rigs, like again the Mobius or the Runcam. So you may be asking, what about the magnification? Now this is a 4.5 magnification. I'm not sure if I mentioned that already. How is this going to work for me if I'm running like a VSR-10? So I think if you're sniping or you're trying to engage people over 200 feet considerably, like if you are only going for those super far shots, this is not the camera for you. If you are running around, assaulting, going through a town, or you're playing indoors, this is a great camera for you. I just think that once you start to push it past 200 feet, your target gets a little bit too hard to see, and you'd be better off going with a custom setup at that point. Going with a custom Runcam or a Mobius might be your best option at that point. They're also short, so they can fit under a scope, but for pretty much all airsofters are using AEGs and not using them as a DMR, I think this is an absolutely great option for them. I personally play in that role myself, and I think that the 4.5 magnification is great for that, but when I get to a really close quarter situation, in my editing I won't even put in the scope cam gameplay because it's too close. So if I'm within like 30 feet of someone and I pop up, the magnification is going to show from here to like the end of their chest rig at the bottom. So I typically don't throw scope cam in for stuff that's too close, but I think that 4.5 magnification is a nice middle ground and is going to work for the majority of airsofters out there. And a lot of airsofters do use this camera. You have folks like Jet and Leia, they use this for their gameplay, if I remember correctly. A lot of the snipers do like to use custom setups. I mean, I've seen guys even use like camcorders and DSLRs on top of their scopes, but overall, let's recap about this. It's a very well-made unit, it's a very easy-to-use unit, and it uses disposable batteries, which is a huge, huge plus for people going to milsims or extended games where you want to record gameplay, but you don't want to have to worry about battery life. And these aren't too badly priced. You can get these, if I remember correctly, they are about 150 or so. I could be wrong about that. Hey, I was wrong about that. You can find them for about $110 on Amazon. I'll have a link down in the description below to where you can check those out. And just as a small disclaimer, if you do buy one through the link that I have provided down below, I do get a small percentage, which allows me to improve the quality of the videos that we do here on the channel. But I think that this is a great buy for anyone who wants to get scope cam gameplay. If they want to be able to track your BBs and you want to have good and entertaining video for your YouTube channel or whatever you're doing, I think that the ATN Shot Trak is a great, great camera that you can choose despite some of its flaws. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for staying until the end. If you liked this video and you liked the honesty in our reviews, I'd love it if you would hit that subscribe button down below to join our community. And while you're at it, hit the bell icon next to it again so that you can join our notification squad and get updated when we post new videos every Tuesday and Friday here on the BB Warrior. I want to know what your guys' experience have been with scope cams. And how do you like to use them? Are you the type of person that likes to only have like a montage of like your snipes with your scope cam? Or do you like to do like something like I do where I mix up my helmet camera from my GoPro and then use my scope cam? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below, guys. But thank you so much for watching. Check us out on social media for more content. This has been Lane from the BB Warrior reviewing the ATN Shot Trak HD camera in 1080p. And I will see you all next time.